Hello and welcome to Crafting with Jane. We're doing sort of winter cards and not just Christmas, because I've got quite a few friends who don't celebrate the Christian Christmas, and I've got other friends of different faiths who don't want Christmas cards. So these are lovely because you can choose them. I've done this one as a winter card, so I thought we would replicate this one. Lots of different techniques going on, so if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, like and comment, because that's really important. But the techniques that we're going to do is we're going to do this background, which we've got, as you can see, different colors going on. We've also got some white embossing going on. I think I might do it slightly differently. We've then got the colouring of these pots. Now, these pots are actually should be full of water, and they're designed that way, but to get the shade, to get the pots to actually come into that colour, we're going to work on that. And yes, and then create the cards. So that's what we're working with. Let me give you some measurements. This card is, so I've got a card blank base, which is 4.5 inches, or just under 12 centimeters square. Obviously double it up because it's two sides like that. Then I've got a silver, I've done a mirror card mat, and that is 4.25 square. And then the white card we're working with is 4 inches square. So I always work in 1/4 inches. You'll have to excuse me if you can hear the washing machine in the background. It's a wash day, so I craft on every day, and you know, sometimes you have that. So this is the piece we're going to work on. So this is 4 inches by 4 inches. The first thing we want to do is create our background. So I'm using some blending brushes. You can use whatever medium you want. So you can use sponge daubers, you can use foam pads, you can use a bit of kitchen sponge, whatever you have to fancy. And I'm choosing colours. I'm going to do the background again slightly differently. And this time I've chosen a blue, which is Marina Mist, a peachy colour, which is Crisp Cantaloupe, a greeny colour, which is Soft Seafoam, and a purple, which is Fresh Freesia. Now, these are Stampin' Up ones. Some of them are old, some of them are retired. They're just the inks that I happen to have, so that's what I'm using. I'm going to start with the Fresh Freesia, because I quite like the purple to come in the background. So I'm using a blending brush that I got purples with, and I'm just sort of starting on the side and just bringing it across in different areas. So it doesn't have to be absolutely precise. You're just basically building up some colour in just different areas. So I tend to sort of work from one corner across and then have a little bit down in on this corner. So that's that one. Then I'm going to take the, let's put that on that side. I think I'm going to have the blue as my accent colour, I think. Or I do quite like that, but I think blue might look better, and we'll just see. So I'm going to use this one, which is the Crisp Cantaloupe, which is sort of a peachy orangey colour, and I'm just putting that through again, just on different parts. I'll just have a little bit coming through like that. So that's that one. Then I'm going to have the green, because I want to have the green toning in. So this is going to be the green. And oops, let's just move that out of the way. So I've got something on here. I like doing this on a glass mat because it gives you a nice smooth area to work with. So you can see on here, I just like blending that in. I think I need to re-ink some of these. It's one of the things, if you're using blending brushes, you tend to use up quite a lot of ink. So and you can see how you're getting these nice sort of colours coming through. So I'm just going to take that up in like that. So that's the green. And I am going to do some of the blue on here. So I'm going to take it with the green one because it's slightly darker. And then I can come in on here. And of course the blue and the purple, the blue and the pink will give sort of a purple. Just a little bit on here. And this is just giving your background, and I'm making this one, it's a little bit brighter than the other one, which is fine, but you can see I'm just giving it a little bit of colour like that. Okay, so that's our colours in there. Then I'm going to keep the blue out because I'm going to do, no I'm not, I'm going to do it similar to the other because I do like those earthy tones. So this one I think was a different pinky orange. It was, what was it? It was Peekaboo Peach, which again is an old one. It just so happens different ones that I take up. Sorry, I'm just putting my inks away. And so I'm going to do the stamping with this one. So I need to find that stamp. So this stamp is called Garden Notes, designed by Tracy Evans, and they're all and create ones, and it's number 909 because I really like that. Let me just put my blending brushes away so we've got a bit more surface area to work on. Okay, so this one I'm going to put it because I want this as my background piece. So I'm going to put this in. Just get it out. To put these pieces together because otherwise you can't see clear. I need to get some of those pockets. I've seen people with these pockets that are press stud ones that look quite fun. So I think I'm going to use some of those. Right. As this is not a complete size, it's fine for me to put it on like this. So I'm just putting it sort of half on at the top and the bottom, but that's fine. And I'm going to do it in this peachy colour because it will work quite nicely with the other colours on there. So I'm literally just going to take it from one side to the other, just press it down and pick it up, and then I just want to do another piece just in on the corner, just in like that, and we've got that bit on there. Okay, so that's given us that background piece, and as you can see it's just slightly different for that one, but that's fine. You know, it's nice to have things in different colours, and I'm just sort of showing you different tonal colours. I just need to get my cloth out to wipe this over. As you know, I now just keep a this is a microfiber cloth, and I keep it while I'm working in just in a plastic bag, because I find that it means that you're then it keeps it moist, it stops it drying out, and it's there while you're working, and you can keep sort of mopping up your surfaces, and in the bag it stops everything else getting wet. So, and I'm just going to dry this down. It's going to squeak, so excuse the squeaky. There we are. Now I can put this one away, and again, habit, always put your stamps, not necessarily completely away, but always put your stamps away, so you know where they are and where they're going to go. I'm not putting them inside the packet yet, but I'm putting them up like this. Okay, so that's that piece done. Right, now then, oops, I need to take it out again, don't I? The next piece I need to do is, which, as I say, it's a little bit damp, but I think it's going to be all right. I would normally wait for it to dry. I don't like putting the heat gun on it too much, because what happens quite often is it will start warping it. And I know you can do it one side and then turn it over on the other side, but for waiting a little while. Now, what I need to do is to make sure that I put that this way. So I'm going to turn it because I'm going to emboss it, and I don't want it to be coming out exactly the same way. So embossing, we need Versamark, which is a sticky ink, and we're literally just going to go over the stamp. And again, you need to go over it quite well. Now, I could have used an anti-static bag, but because it's a background, I don't really mind if it comes out just a little bit, you know, differently, and we've got some sort of over bits as well. It really doesn't matter that much. So I'm just going to do down this side, so I can put it on. No, I've got it on the wrong bit, haven't I? That side is the side I need to do it on. So let's put that on that side, and then all I need to do is to just take it from there and put that down. Okay, so now we've got our sticky ink on there. We then need to put some embossing powder. So I have got a little tray, because it really helps, and it's good when you're using it with little things. So this fits perfectly in the little tray. And then this one is actually it's a Paper Mania one, and it's called Seafoam White. So it's slightly different. It's a little bit thicker, but I don't think it matters too much. I think it'll be fine. So I need to get some more embossing powders, but I haven't been out anywhere to get them. And I know Wow are a good make. I've seen a lot of people using the make Wow. So that might be something that I will invest in at a later stage. So I'm just picking it up by the corner, taking it off like that, giving it a bit of a shake like that, and then I can put this, I'll do this later on. Let's just put the lid in like that. Just going to put that up out of the way, and then I can put that back in later on, save doing it now. And then I just need my heat tool, and I'm just going to heat that up a bit, so excuse the noise on there. Put my finger in the bottom. If you heat it up first, it then works a little bit quicker. So I'm just doing it on here, and you should be able to see it'll start turning in a little bit. Here we go. Now you can see that I've got little bits coming in, and it's not done all over, but that's fine. I just want just a little bit of the white coming through. Let's turn it round a bit. I think, to be quite honest, that this the white is just a little bit old, because it hasn't come out as well as I would have liked. I think that's probably just about okay. I might just do, we haven't got much down on that side, have we? I'll have that as the bottom. Okay, there's enough to give a little bit of background in on there, but it's not the best, but it gives a little bit of a texture on there, and it's a slightly different color tone than the other. So that will, if you see on this one, there's a little bit more on there. This one, there's not quite as much on there, but that's fine. It just gives a little bit of texture, and that's all we want. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to do the sticking of this onto here first, so it has a chance to actually flatten out completely. So let me just get some wet glue. As you know, I always use wet glue. Sorry if I'm dazzling you. I've just realised that that's mirror card, so it can be quite dazzling. So I just need to put a little bit of this in. Now, which was the bit where there wasn't the right? There's not much down the bottom, and that's fine because that's where the pots are going to go. So I'm just going to put this in on here and put that so that gives it the size that we want. Like that. And then, as I say, as it will dry flat, because it's still slightly warm from the embossing, and that gives, but can you see what a lovely background that gives with all of the different textures and things? And at this stage we can have it any way up we want, because these letters, it doesn't really matter, it's a background. But you can see how by going over with the colours underneath you get this lovely tone. Okay, so that's that ready to go. Let me just put this one back. Now I don't, because it's just embossing, I don't need to trying to work out which way that was there. There looks like an A in that corner, isn't there? Okay, so it's this way. So just need to put that back in on here, and then put this one in on there like that. And then I can put that out of the way, and then we can do that again in a minute. Okay, so we now need to concentrate on our pots. So I have already done the stamping of these pots, because I stamped a few out beforehand to save just a little bit of time. So we're going to have 3 pots, and we're going to have a rounded blue one, or a rounded one like this. Then we're going to have this one that's going to tuck in behind, and then we're going to have the little terracotta pot like that. Okay, so those are our 3 pots. Now, as you can see, there is a definition of water. I don't want them to be water. I want them to be pots that we have outside. So, you know, they're garden pots, because I'm going to put a little robin on there. So to do that, we need to do some colouring in on this. Now, I'm going to bring you in for this bit so you can actually see what we're doing. So excuse me a minute while I bring you in. There we go. Okay, so stop it wobbling. We'll stop in a second. Okay, so I need to start. I'm going to start with this one, which is this pot, and I'm using alcohol markers. So this one, these are Touch 10, and I have chosen 2 different shades of sort of bluey grey. So there's a lighter one and there's a darker one, which is BG5 and BG7. One is a blue grey, they're both blue greys. One is just a darker tone. So we're going to take the lighter of the 2, and we are going to colour the whole of the pot. So literally all the way through. And yes, I used VersaFine ink, and I'm now colouring over with alcohol markers. If you let your images dry completely, you then don't have a problem doing that. Now you can use Memento. I don't like using Memento because it doesn't give me as crisp an image. As it's water-based, it does not give crisp images. So I find that as long as I wait for this to dry, I don't have a problem at all. So I'm literally just colouring all of that in like this. Okay, in the one colour. Then I'm going to take the darker colour and we are going to go round the, if you see where the dark shadows are, it gives you a good impression. Now I'm going round this on here, and I'm going round on here on the lid. Okay, I'm going round the back of the lid, so I'm leaving a space there, and then I'm going down from the sides right the way down, because I don't want that water to look like water in there, which it does at the moment. So I'm going all the way down to the bottom like this, just a bit right over on the bottom. I find it's easier to turn it round, so I'm now going up the other side, and again where the dark is, but I'm coming in on this where the water line is, because I don't want it to be water, and I'm bringing this in a bit like this. Okay, and just bringing it in just a little bit more like that. So we've got a real pale bit there. Now we then go back to the lighter colour, and we're going to blend the whole thing in. So I'm blending it in. So where that line is, you can see how that line is now not as sharp. And that's why you need to do it while the alcohol is still quite wet, because it allows you to blend it in, and that then works it down quite nicely. Okay, so that's that pot, like that. Now we are going to do a little bit of white shading to just, or highlights to just give it a little bit of a highlight, but that's pot 1. Okay, so now we're going to go on to pot 2, which is the brown one. So the brown one I have chosen, and I wanted to do 3 different colours. So this one is a brown grey and an olive green, it says. So it's 41 and 104. 41 is the lightest, and this one I am going to again just colour in the whole thing first. So right the way across, and by doing that you're laying down your colour to start off with. So it puts some alcohol ink onto your cardstock, which then means when you come to blending it's easier to do. So I'm going to take the other one, and we're just going to take that in like this. So I'm just going to move it across. So that's that, and you can see it's quite quick to do. So now we're going to go on to the darker one, and again you can see all your lines down here. So we're going to start on the rim, and I'm going to do the rim in. Oh, is that not, that's not very dark, is it? Have I picked out the wrong one? I think I've picked out the wrong one. I have. I wanted a darker colour. Bear with me 1 second while I get in. Just need to get my ink. I've just picked out another one which was too pale, so I want the darker one. So I have a set of these, which are 60 of them. I've had them a long time. As you can see, my bag's falling to bits. They were as cheap as chips, but to be quite honest, they were brilliant. I have a swatch, so I need to have this one, which is, instead of 104, let's have a darker one than that. Let's have it's got to be quite browny, hasn't it? So let's do, I think it was it 99? 97? Maybe it was 97. No, I'm going to do, I think it was 97. Let's try, I can't remember what colour I did with that. It's a brown, definitely a brown. That's my rusty ones. That's not dark enough because I've just got that one out. So I need to take it darker than that, which is more of a mid-brown. I'm going to try the 99, I think. Let's see if I've got 99 in here. Let's Let's have a look. 99, yes I have. Right, I'm pretty sure, let's move those out there. I'm pretty sure it's 99 that I was using. Okay, so let's try that. That's better. So you're going to go round on the side, and as I say, it's quite dark, but that's fine. And then we are going to come down on the edge again, all the way down, like that. And I want to take it across the bottom, up on this side. And the reason that I'm doing that is, as I say, I don't want the waterline to look like a waterline. So that's why I'm going right the way across the side, because then it stops the water looking like water. Okay, and then we can go back to the paler one, and we're going to do the blending through. So we'll just blend everything through, right in along that line. Like that, and I'm going to take it around the other side. And I do that because I'm right-handed, so for me it's easier for me to be able to blend accurately if I've got the piece at this, if I'm following the right side. If I'm doing that side, it's cack-handed for me. So that's the second one. And as I say, you can see as it starts drying, you get more of the definition of the colour. So you need to let it dry for a little bit. Okay, so now let's take the, so we've done these ones. Now I've just got the last two to do, which is the lovely terracotta pot. But as I say, as long as you choose two colours that will work reasonably well together. So this one is a 97 and it's called a rose beige. But I thought it was terracotta potty. As I say, whatever you're using, do yourself a swatch pad. You saw with me that I have a swatch pad, and it means then I can see exactly what colour, because quite often, you know, on the lid, and use the sort of paper that you're going to be using. So don't go using, for example, copy paper to do your swatches, and then you're using a 300 GSM cardstock, because it's not likely to come out the same. Try and use like for like. Okay, so that's the bottom of the pot. And then we've got this one, which is, it's called a brick brown, which is rather good. So yes, it's really sort of terracotta-y. Now this one I want to do round the outside like this, and come in, round. In fact, I'm going to do the whole of that back bit, come in round on here, take all of this one, and I think I'm going to do the whole of the inside of that, because that would be darker coming down. And then I'm just coming down on here. Now this is fine, because as you can see, there's no water. It's supposed to be like a terracotta pot, so it's just got your hashtag lines. And that's the way to know where's dark and where isn't, because the artist will give you that indication, so you don't have to worry too much about it. So that's given me my light and my dark on there. And then I'm going back again to the pale, and we are going to blend through again. So blending through in on those edges, and by doing that, it just softens that edge nicely and gives you a nice terracotta pot. Okay, so those are our three pots. Now you can see on here that I've done some highlights with white. So I'm going to go and do that now, and that will make a big difference. So if I look at this one, what I've done is I've put some, and you need to wait for it to dry. So I'm hoping the terracotta one at the end might not be quite dry enough, but the others should be fine. So I'm going to, on this, literally just do a little bit of white along the back and on there, just under this little rim and just down like that. And so when that dries, it just gives you that little bit of highlighting on there. So I'm doing it down underneath on the rim, and quite just a few little lines. You'd be amazed how much difference that makes. So a little bit on here, a little bit on there, and a little bit of white up in on here, and like that. So when that dries, it just gives that little bit of a highlight on there, and I think that that looks really rather pretty. Okay, so that's my pots. This is our background now. So what we need to do is we need to put this on here like this. So I'm going to take it with, I wanted this. Let's move that one out of the way for now because we've got our real one going on. I want this to go at the bottom because there's not much definition. So let's just stick this one in now. And I'm doing that because I'm not doing any stamping. So I'm quite confident that if I put this on, I'm not going to be messing it up at this stage. If you're doing stamping, I always suggest that you do all of one bit first, because if you then make a mistake, you're only wasting the original cardstock, just this little piece there, and you're not wasting the rest. Okay, so that's our background on there, which, as I say, I think is lovely. And now we're going to have our pots in. So we want one pot here, one pot underneath, and the other pot's going to come here like that. Okay, so I need to put the bottom pot in first because, as you can see, I'm tucking underneath. So if I take my bottom pot and I put that exactly where I want it, then I know. And again, I would wait a little bit longer than I am because I can feel that the alcohol ink is still a little bit wet. So we're going to have one in here like that, about that sort of height. And as I say, it's because it's a little bit wet, it's going to take a little bit longer to dry. So you can see it's popping up just a little bit, and that's because the alcohol ink hasn't completely dried. So it takes a little bit longer for the glue to go down. So the next one is going to come in over the top and down just a little bit because I want it to look as if that's further back. And then this one is the first one. So again, with this one, we're just going to put this in on here, and then that's going to come down at the bottom like that. Okay, and by doing it in so that one comes slightly lower, it looks as if you've got natural distance coming in. Okay, so now we need to put our little, and I have cut these pieces out so we don't have to worry too much about that. So I've got or I should have in here, so I got these all out. We want a little robin and we want the word winter. Okay, so I've got winter there. I don't think I cut the robin out, but that's all right. We can work with that. So little robin that's going to come in and sit on there. I'm going to do that with, I want a little bit of orange and I want a little bit of brown. So I'm going to use ones that I've got here, I think. So what have I got here? What colour is this? Can't even see what it says. Dark crumb cake. Okay, so we'll use that for the apart from you can never get the lids off these things. I really used to struggle with those, and that's I want a fine point on this. So let's see if I can get this off. There we go. Right, so I just want to do the outside of the robin in the I've just realized as well, I've still got you on zoomed in, haven't I? I need to zoom you out. Let me just finish this off then, like that. So that's that bit of robin. So you've probably had a bit that's really, oh, now this won't go back in again. Oh, very stiff, some of these. And then I'm doing this, which is a, what colour is that? Dark Calypso Coral. So let's do the little bit of the robin on here with that just round on there. And then he needs a little black beak. So because it's such a tiny weeny little bit, I'm just going to use a very fine black marker. So let me just do this, and I just want to do his little beak. Yeah, I think that one's run out. Let's see if I've got another one. Don't know why I'm putting it back in there. See if that one's better. Little tiny black beak. That's better. There we go. So we've got a little black beak on there. Okay, right. So I am now going to zoom you out. Whoops. The other way. There we go. That's better. So hopefully you won't overly dazzled. I'll see when I finish, but hopefully it wasn't too sort of over the top on there. So now what I need to do is I just need to fussy cut that out. Now what have I just done with my scissors? I put them in on the side. Don't know. These will do. Okay, so all I'm going to do is very carefully just fussy cut this little tiny robin out. He's very, very tiny. And I try and do my fussy cutting in natural light. So I've got quite a strong light coming up on here, which is great for you guys to see, but it's not the easiest for fussy cutting. So always do yourself a favour when you're doing any fussy cutting or anything. Give yourself natural light if you can, and also try and do it when you are wide awake, as it were. So first thing in the morning, when your eyes might be a little bit not at their best, or as I say, in the winter time as we are now, when you've really got struggle with natural light, it's very difficult to do fussy cutting. You see, I'm struggling a bit with this because I'm doing it in a really bright light, and it's not the easiest to do. So I will probably trim it up a bit when I've finished, but it's quite tiny. So what I would tend to do is to do these, as I say, under natural light. I just didn't have one that I'd already cut out. I do tend to cut out a few at a time and then keep them in that pot, because then you've always got something that you want. So take that in there. I'm just going to go in between his legs because I don't want too much white showing. Don't mind a little bit, but that's going to be too much, I think. Take that down like that. Okay, that I think is going to be fine. So he's going to be just sitting on there, so we'll pop him on. Again, you can do this with dimensionals if you want to. I'm very much aware of the postage, and I think everybody, I don't know anybody that's turned around and said, oh, don't worry about the postage. The postage throughout the world is getting costlier and costlier. So, you know, for us card makers that send quite a few cards, if we don't make them too thick, particularly in the UK, then they will just go as normal letterpost and we don't have to worry about it. Okay, so this winter one, do I need to trim it up a bit? I think I probably do actually, because look, that's quite tight there. So I'm just going to trim that up like that. The rest of it's fine. And I'm just going to stick that in on here. So that can then go in on here like that. Okay, now there's just two things that we need to do. So we need to, sure that's straight. We need to take, in fact, three things that we need to do. The first thing we need to do is to take our black Posca pen, and we are going to, let's move this out of the way. Okay, so we need our black Posca pen, and I'm going to just, I didn't shake it, just go around the edge of this. Now, I always do it once it's stuck on, because I find that it just, for me, it just works better. I know some people will do it before it's stuck on, but I tend to do it once it's on, because as I said, I find it easier, and you've then got that little black border around there which just makes it stand out beautifully. Okay, now the only thing that I want to do is I just want to give a little bit of grounding on there, and then I want to give a few little splatters because that brings it all together. So, oops, excuse me for moving the camera. So Derwent Intense pens, and I just want a black. So my black is, I think it's just called black, dark ink black. So that's a really nice dark, and all I want to do is to take just a little bit of a shadow down on the bottom there. A little bit of a shadow down on there. A little bit of shadow down on there. Okay, now this, once I've added just a little bit of water, so I'm going to use a water brush, and all I'm going to do is to just take this from here, up in on there, and take it down, this up in on here, take it down, that in on there, take it down. And that just gives a little bit of shadow on there so that the pots aren't looking too sort of floating up in the air. Now, if they're a little bit dark and you want to take some colour out, just literally as I'm doing on here, because these Inktense are a little bit too bright. Now that will darken down as I go, which is lovely. And then the last bit we want to do is we want to do our splatters. So I've got Shake My Posca pen, and then you want something that is quite firm. So I'm going to use this, and you can see on here you get some nice little splatters coming in on here, on your pots, just like that. And then that, let's take the first one back. Those are our two cards. Slightly different backgrounds, but you can see you still get the same. You can see how that, once it's dried, which once this is dried will be a lot paler, but there we are, two lovely cards. with the pots and some decorating. So hope you enjoyed those ideas. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.